Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome your viewers to another episode of She in Islam. Ramadan Kareem to all of you. Tonight we have another episode with Sister Farheen Asadullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sister Farheen, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair for joining us, mashallah, another episode on She in Islam. And I'm just going to recap a little bit of our old episode, the past episode that we did. But first I would like to introduce you that you are, mashallah, a Quran teacher here in Kuwait.
Yes.
Mashallah, you're teaching children.
Yes, I do. To children and ladies.
Children and ladies also.
Yes.
Mashallah, mashallah, very nice, mashallah. And that you give Islamic classes to,
Yes, I do.
to the children and to the ladies? Or
Both, yes.
to both, mashallah, and in English.
In English.
So it's wonderful. So people who don't speak Arabic but are Muslim can
Yes.
also make benefit of this Islamic knowledge in
Alhamdulillah.
English, in a language that they understand, mashallah. And you've been in Kuwait for 10 years, so
Yes,
we
I've
said it's
been
become
here.
home.
Yes, it is.
Mashallah. But the topic tonight that we're going to address is domestic violence, and we're going to continue from our last segment.
Inshallah.
And you said in the last segment that it's it's rampant in every country that it's in your home country, India.
Yes.
It's here. It's really everywhere.
Yes,
It's nothing to do with the nationalities.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Economic background, educational background, even male, female.
Yes, it doesn't
that
matter.
that both genders can be an abuser
Yes.
or an abused. Subhanallah.
SubhanAllah.
You know, what I would like to know is, now we know that there abuse is going on. What can we do as bystanders when we see a dear friend who comes to us and says, dear friends tend to confide in us sometimes. It takes
Yes,
a little
they do.
while,
Yes.
but they confide in us. So what do we do? I mean, do we just give a listening ear? Do we actually physically help? Do we take this person to some more professional help? What would you be advising?
The very first advice would be that on personal level that I usually talk about is that you speak to your husband first. Okay,
Yes.
let there be a communication. Let him understand that there is something wrong with our relationship.
Right.
And even after that, things don't work. So you consult your elders. You bring them in the picture, because this is only going to ruin your life.
Right.
If you stand there hoping that one day after 20, 35, 40 years of your marriage he's going to change, that's too long to bear the dhulm. It's too long to get oppressed.
Because it's become a lifestyle for
Yes,
him
it's
or
become a
her.
life-
It's
yes,
not
absolutely.
it's not just a slip up.
No, it's
not
not.
just one moment of anger
True.
that you can say, this is so out of character.
Yes.
This, my husband or my wife was under so much stress that although it's wrong,
Yeah.
they still made a mistake. They slipped up,
Yeah.
felt apologetic afterwards, and it's not going to happen
Happen again.
Out of, but if it's a character trait,
Yes, true.
it's not going to change.
It's not going to change. And then after that, if things don't work, then you gather courage to walk out of the relationship. You save yourself.
So do
you save
women
your
usually
children.
have the courage to walk out? What do you see?
Out of 10, only 1% of the ladies take that courage of stepping out. The rest of them either they commit suicide, or they bear that torture and pain till they go in their grave. These are the only two options they have. Either
And
you
why?
commit suicide.
Why do they bear with it for so long?
I think, this comes from a lack of religious knowledge. So, firstly, lack of religious knowledge. You don't know what Islam is talking about, especially if we talk about the Muslim women, where they think that Islam has given them less opportunities, or they always talk about equality in Islam. But as a Muslim woman, if you are going through Quran, you should know that Islam is based on justice. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given every person, a male his task and a woman her task. So there's no point of equality. In fact, Islam is the only religion, I think, which has liberated the status of a woman, only if she knows. Like, for example, if I can give you, is that a woman who's earning, okay, the husband has no right on the earning of a woman.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, I don't know how many
And this is
women...
very specific to Islam, because
Exactly, yes,
prior to
yes.
Islam, we're not saying modern days.
No modern day.
We're talking
is.
in history.
Exactly, yes,
Throughout
yes.
history, even in Europe, into the, maybe 200 years ago, the woman married, and all her possessions immediately was
would
owned
go to the husband.
to
Yes.
the, by the husband.
Yes.
So this is something post-Islam even.
Yes, true.
So Islam came over 1,400 years ago, and already back then
Subhanallah,
gave
it
that
had
right to
already
a woman.
liberated. It already was, it actually upgraded the status of a woman. And believe me, when I tell the ladies who are earning, I said, you are earning, mashallah, for yourself. This is your money. This is your money. If you wish to spend, that's alhamdulillah, you get ajr for it. But if you don't want to, you are not sinned for it. In fact, your husband has to still spend, even if you are earning like 1,000 dinar and your husband is earning 500 KD, he
Yes.
still has to spend from that.
And the 1,000 is yours.
The 1,000 is yours.
So really, subhanallah, in Islam, we were
Subhanallah.
queens.
Yes, we are.
Our money is ours, and our husband's is ours.
Yes, correct, correct.
What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine.
Exactly.
Basically.
Even if you see the marriage, okay, the woman does not have to spend anything. The nikah, the expenses is for the husband. The meher, the woman is getting. Subhanallah, these are the things that actually the people don't realize
Right.
or haven't studied. So they
Right.
are so
They're ignorant.
Yes, they're ignorant.
It's
Yes.
ignorance, unfortunately. Whether it's that they don't read for themselves, or
True.
they've been mis-explained.
yes, very
They're relying on somebody else to read for them and explain things to them.
yes.
Subhanallah. And one thing that's beautiful in Islam, even if a woman decides to partake in sharing
Share,
in the household
yes.
finances, is considered like charity from her part.
Very true. Yes.
So
She
she's
gets ajr
actually
for
be
it.
giving reward
Yeah.
as if she's giving charity.
True.
So
Subhanallah.
even though she's spending on her own children,
Yes,
and she's
it
spending
is.
on her own household, she's
Household.
eating
Yes.
from
True.
her own money.
True.
It's
True.
considered giving charity.
Yeah, but I know families where the daughter-in-law is working, and they tell that you have to, whatever you earn, your salary, you have to come and you have to give it to us.
Oh,
So they are confused, and they just ring me up that Farheen, does Islam say anything about this? And I was like, no, that's your money. Your husband has no right about it. Forget about your in-laws. Forget
Yeah,
about your family.
nobody has,
Your,
yes.
Yeah, it is your money.
yes.
So they're like,
not
how
your
come
brothers,
how come
not anybody. It's
Nobody,
your
nobody.
own
It's your
earnings.
own money.
Yes.
And subhanallah, they're so confused. So I said, why didn't you research? He said, I thought it would be better if I ask you.
Right. So
this
that's
is
their
one of the
form of
problems.
research.
That's,
that they.
yes, that's another problem, that you don't research, you don't read, you don't study. So obviously you have you are ignorant in that field.
Right, but nowadays, mashallah, knowledge is really at our fingertips.
Exactly.
Subhanallah.
Yeah,
Well, we get-
that's what my teacher always says, that subhanallah, the technology has bloomed, but with that we have the
Increased
right
ignorance.
Yes, yes.
Subhanallah.
it has good and bad both knowledge.
Exactly,
You need to
exactly.
know exactly where to pick and choose from.
That's true. There's sometimes too
Yes.
much out there.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, absolutely.
Well, we'll go for a quick break, inshallah, and then we'll get back to the topic at hand, which is the domestic aggression and violence, inshallah. Please, dear viewers, stay with us with this very important topic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, your viewers, and with me is Sister Farheen, and we're on the topic of domestic violence, which, mashallah, we're covering the second episode with this topic because really it's a deep topic, it's a widespread topic, unfortunately, and surprisingly, also, like you said in the previous episode, that it's not just women that are abused, men
Yes.
as well.
Yes, true.
So have
Very
you
true.
actually have you encountered, domestic violence in friends and family and neighbors and even strangers who come up to you and tell you their stories? Because I know you're active in that field.
Yes, yes. There are a lot of case studies actually, and one that actually is in my mind, and I think it's like etched in my heart, is that once a woman, we were just doing a case study with a woman where she actually took divorce after having 2 kids. So while talking, I just asked her that what was the reason. This was back in college, back in India. I said, what was the reason that you took? I was very curious to know. And she told me that I am, I am abused. I'm a case of domestic violence, and my husband is very abusive. And it's not that he drinks or there's nothing like that. Not under
So
the
no
influence
external
of,
causes.
Yes, nothing.
So he's of good mind.
Yes, he's of a good mind. He's of a good family. The mother-in-law is very supportive. Yani, there are no family issues.
Right.
But there was ego issue. There was a control issue that you will do everything I say even if it's wrong. So he would not allow her to go to her parents' house for no reason. But she would ask that what is it that is stopping you from not permitting me to go to my parents' house? And he had no answer. He said, just like that. I'm a man, you are supposed to listen to me. You know, she went through that until one day she says that she wanted to go to her mother's house, and she was actually expecting, and she was in her 9th month, the full term. He actually kicked her and she fell down from the steps and lost the baby.
At the ninth
At the
month.
9th month, yeah.
Wow.
And that was the time she said, I was lying in
Which
the hospital.
actually in
looking
Islam
up.
would be considered murder.
Yes, yes, absolutely. She said, I was lying, I was looking up at the ceiling, and I said, I had enough. I want to save my 2 kids. I've lost this one. I cannot afford to lose them. And that's how, and that's when she said, I took the courage. And even when she went to her parents' house, he came over there and he's saying, you are going to leave me? The way she was talking, I was like, subhanallah, with tears in her eyes. And she said, he would tell me that no one's going to believe you. Only for the one single reason that he came from a very good family. He had a very good reputation. Said,
Unfortunately, often that's the case.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
on the outside,
True.
The abusers have this
but today,
angelic faces.
Yes, absolutely.
Oftentimes are very religious people, knowledgeable
True.
people,
Very
but
true.
people say, no, mashallah, he's an
Yes.
imam, he's a
Yes.
sheikh.
He cannot do anything wrong.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
But
even
that's
even
not true.
in outside of Islam, even in Christianity, I've heard of cases where somebody was married to a very religious reverend. He was highly respected in the community, and at home he was so abusive. And nobody would believe her.
Yeah, the similar case, I'll tell you one more case, which is also mind-boggling. It's where one of the sisters actually, she was narrating her story, saying that the husband would actually, abuse her to an extent that one day he actually, burnt the mattress, the bed, out of anger. And after he came back to his senses, and the people, they saw smoke and the people started shouting, he actually put the blame on the wife. And she was like stunned. She said, subhanallah, you are a Muslim. I'm talking about it's a Muslim home, that you are a Muslim. You did that, and who's going to believe you? And
So
actually,
he put complete blame. So you did it?
Complete blame. Yes,
Oh.
he said, I just walked in, and there was an argument, and he just burnt the mattress, and there were children. Okay, she had 3 children, small, and the entire house was in smoke. And then there was a police case, obviously, because the neighbors called
So
the
he
police.
straight out lied.
Straight out, yes.
He said she did this.
You did it, and emotionally abusing her. Yani, she said, I didn't do it, but emotionally playing with the mind that you did it. It's because of you this happened. It's because of you
this
this
is
happened.
so many times the case in abusive
Yes.
relationships, that the mind games.
The mind games.
The abuser plans. It's a gradual process. I
True,
think also
yeah.
it's not from the first day of marriage. Sometimes it's a gradual process where the victim is being brainwashed.
True, yes.
Being made to believe that really they are the cause of why they are being hit or abused, is because you push me to that. I'm really a good person, but because your bad behavior is pushing me over the edge. I don't want to. I love you. I care for you, but you are making your behavior, so you are the one who's mistaken.
Yeah.
And
subhanallah,
oftentimes,
subhanallah.
unfortunately, I think the abused person and the victim believe.
Yes,
They get into a mindset where they believe things like that.
And the part that I find very, very sad is that the one who gets the most hurt is the woman. If I talk, because she is scared for her life, she's scared for her children, she's scared for her future.
Yes.
Whereas the husband says, it's okay, you want to leave me, I'm going to get married the very next day, you leave me. So that emotional, abuse, that I'm going to be left alone. He's going to find another
she
partner.
feels like she's nothing and
She's
nobody.
nothing, yeah.
She can be replaced in a minute.
Yani he tries to portray it like you are nothing, you are useless without me. And
Yes.
that emotional trauma that she goes through every second, that is, I think, miserable.
Yes.
That makes her, there are so many sleepless nights where I know friends, they have been up the entire night because they were scared of their lives.
Yes.
They had sleepless nights thinking that he might just get up and might just kill me.
Right.
SubhanAllah, that's what I always tell them, that why do you want to live in such a relationship? Allah has made marriage as a means of mercy and rahmah.
Yes.
This is a relationship based on love and mercy, compassion. Why do you want to set an example to your children that marriage isn't? And actually this happens. This
Really?
happens that at one stage the children say, especially the daughter will say, I don't want to get married. If
Yes.
this is what is the output, I just
Of course,
cannot.
the children get affected badly.
Very true. Yes, they do. They do. And in a very in a way that at that moment you won't realize that they are getting affected.
I think it affects them for life.
Yes, it does.
It affects them
It
for
does.
life because
It does.
children's personality is completely formed by age 7.
Very true. Yes.
And anything that they see before age 7 and even beyond, but before 7, it actually forms part of their personality.
True.
And I think oftentimes children try to escape
Very true. Yes.
that situation that they're in at home by actually throwing themselves into another bad situation
Right,
when they,
yes.
whether it be finding a spouse who's not appropriate just to be
Yes.
able to be out of the house, or falling into wrong ways, making bad decisions for their life.
Very true.
I know of children who've committed self-harm because of, they find themselves powerless.
Yes.
They want to make the change. They cannot stand seeing one of their beloved parents being abused.
Abuse. True.
And at the same time, they're powerless.
Yes.
They're just kids. They don't really have the power to do anything.
And I think a few months back in Kuwait itself, we were in a masjid, and there was a lady, we were in a class, we were taking classes, and there was a lady who was sitting with a child, a small child, probably a 3-month-old baby. And after we finished our class, I just passed through and she smiled, so I smiled back. I saw some, bruises on her face and on her hands. So I just told my friend that I think there's some problem. She's sitting here, it's been 2-3 hours, she's not going, she's not praying, she's not attending the class, there's something wrong. So I came back to her and I asked her that, is everything okay? And then she said, no, nothing is okay. And she started crying and she started telling that my husband threw me out of the house with the small baby, and my 2 children are still at home.
Oh no!
And it was I think summers. And he said, where do you live? She said, I live close to the masjid, but I came walking. She was barefoot. She had no slippers as well.
So like immediately, as she is.
Yes. He just threw her out of the house, and with a small baby in the hand.
And she doesn't know where to go except for the masjid,
Yeah,
because that's a place
yes.
she'll be allowed in all the time.
Exactly. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? My friends actually, some of them told me that, just keep yourself away from this. I said, why should I keep myself away from this?
How can you walk
I
away and
cannot do
sleep?
that. I cannot do it. I said, then they were like, no, probably, they would ask for money, finance, they are, some of them are liars. I agree that, some make up stories, but I said, looking at her, I know that she's not lying. And then alhamdulillah,
You say she was bruised, she was
yes,
crying.
she was, it was like,
And she didn't come to you.
No, I went to her
you
because,
went to her
because I
and you
saw
asked her.
bruises on her hand.
That's what
I
you say.
thought,
There's a difference. I think we can be also wise when we see if somebody comes to us and tells us.
yes.
Doesn't mean we shouldn't believe, but we can
We
can be smart and wise about it.
Yes.
If they immediately ask for money, maybe okay, not give it at that point. Research a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you actually came up to that lady and you asked her, she didn't come up to you. She was just sitting there quietly, and then she kind of opened up.
My approach only led her in tears.
Yes.
Because probably I think she didn't even expect that someone would come up to her to ask her what happened. Well, why are you here?
You're very observant.
And I was there until she left. Then I called up my husband and I told him that, this is the problem, and please, then I came to know that, she speaks, she was from the south. So I came to know. So I then contacted my husband. I said, please, you have a friend who speaks, is from the south.
Same language.
Yes, please call him. And then the brother called his wife from work, and the wife called me, and then I told her, please speak to her and tell me where you live exactly. She knew English, but then because it is easier that if you have the
Your
same
native language,
yes.
you're going to
And
express
then
yourself
she
better.
spoke to her, and subhanallah, we came to know later that they knew the sister. Both of them, my husband's friends, the family, they knew the sister. And the feedback I got, she is a PhD holder. She is a PhD holder, and I was like surprised, and I was just telling my husband that why on earth is she in this abusive religion?
Because she doesn't realize. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. What abusive women actually feel when they're in the situation and how it looks to the outside different than from the inside. Inshallah, we're going to go for a quick break. Please, dear viewers, stay with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to viewers, and with me is Sister Farheen, and mashallah we continue talking about this so important topic of domestic abuse. And just before we went for break, we talked about, you said that a lot of the women they stay, and you encountered this lady who has a PhD, mashallah.
Yes, subhanallah.
And is still, in an abusive relationship, and was thrown out of the house with no shoes on, just stayed in the masjid silently crying.
Yes.
It's often, I think, not a matter of education. We always think that the women who are willing to stand in a relationship or stay in a relationship like that don't know any better,
Yes.
that they are weak, that they don't have an education. But oftentimes,
It doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that.
it doesn't work like that. Like you said, she's holding a PhD.
Yes, I was surprised.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
I think that people on the outside, her friends, or you immediately saw what was wrong.
Yes.
And I'm sure that she has close friends that might encourage her, say, you shouldn't stand for that. You can't. You're being abused. But I think being an abused woman or being an abused man,
Yeah.
you just see things very differently.
Yeah.
And like you said, that fear and hope.
Yes, and you know what? When I was talking to that lady, I'll just come to that. When I was talking to that lady, I told her, let's go to the police. Let's file a case against him, and I gave her my number, and I told her, if ever he does that, you give me a call and I'll come to help you. But that day and this day, she has never called back, and because she
And I'm
told
sure
me
it
the
hasn't
story,
stopped.
and I'm sure because that has started happening once she came to Kuwait, newly married. It started then, and she has 3 kids now, and the youngest
She's
one.
far away from her own family,
Yes,
probably.
she's far, and she's very scared because her husband has told that the Kuwait government will not accept it, and they will deport you, and the children will be with me. You won't be allowed.
So there goes the
because
fear.
The fear
The fear that's
the
being
fear of
instilled.
losing the kids, the fear
Yes.
that once I go back, what's going to happen?
Yes,
You
she'll
know,
lose her kids. She'll be back with her family with no
and
future.
she doesn't know if the family is going to support her or no. How is she going to do? So the
And fear of losing the kids, I think, is a number one.
Yes, number one. Yes,
Why
absolutely.
a
You
lot of
actually,
women will
majority of
stay.
the ladies actually, when you do the case study and when you start, dealing with their mind psychologically, you start, reading them. You come to know that one of the main reason is that my children.
Yes.
I'm suffering. It's okay. I cannot see my children suffer because
Yes.
if we split, the children are going to be, they are the ones who are going to
But
suffer the most.
I think from women I've spoken to and women that have had this experience, actually, it's not good for the children to stay.
Yes, absolutely. But
I mean, but the moms that are in that situation
Yeah.
don't see that,
Yes,
they
very
don't
true.
see how it's affecting.
Very true.
But actually, I think it is healthier
healthier, yes.
in most cases
To,
for the children to be away,
yes,
to have
very true.
a very good relationship with both parents
Both parents,
separately,
yes.
which can be healthy if both parents are mature about it.
Yes.
Better than for them to see the abuse and to grow up with the abuse, because, like we said, it can lead to many mental disabilities
Very
as
true.
well.
Yes.
One factor being post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes.
I think a lot of these children and
go
the
through that.
abused victims go through post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes, because there's no choice.
Yes.
Yani, what happens is this is a norm of a society of comparing your life with others. So when a child who is seeing every day of his life his mother being beaten up, and then compares his life to the life of his
friend that he goes to his house and they're loving.
The depression level, if at home it is 1%, while he's with the friend, it just rises up to 10%.
Yes.
Because he thinks that why me? Why me?
Yes.
Why is my friend's parents together and why I cannot see? So that it's very difficult for for children to accept that I don't have a good family life.
Right.
So that's how they get into the stress, and that stress leads to a lot of many things. Many things.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
So what can women do now? All right, now we're in Kuwait. Can they get help? I mean, have you experienced that the government, like you said, let go to the police?
Yes, this is
mashallah,
this is my
I think
first
that this is
experience.
one positive thing in Kuwait, mashallah, that the police will
subhanallah.
stand
Inshallah,
with
yes.
the women, more likely to stand with the women until they further investigate, of course. But I
yes.
think, mashallah, what I've heard, that mashallah, women do have a voice here if they go and complain.
Yes, subhanallah, that's what I have heard, but I have never experienced, because what happens is that the ladies, they don't stand up.
Yes.
Even if I know families that they are going through the stress and this trauma, even if I push them,
Yes.
that if he throws you out of the house, my house doors are open for you. You can come and stay with me.
Right.
Because I know I
Inshallah.
have seen it in my family, my cousins, my friends, my close friends crying. I have seen them in pain. I have seen their children, leaving their homes, running away from their parents, not meeting their parents. I don't want that thing to happen. If I can stop as an adult today, back in college, back in school, I couldn't do much. But today as an adult, I know, as teaching Quran and teaching Islamic studies, what I'm teaching is what I want to implement.
Mashallah.
So if I teach my kids, if I teach the children, the ladies, that you should not be violent, or you should not accept violence, I want to implement that. So
Because subhanallah, Islam is peace.
yes, it is.
It's coming from the word
Subhanallah,
salam,
yes,
peace, the
very
most
true,
beautiful
very true.
word.
So, but the problem is that back, I think 2-3 years back, I was discussing this with my husband. I told him that my goal, till I'm alive, is that I want to have my own organization which is going to help ladies facing these problems.
I will join you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Because
Once you
I
get
know
that, just let me know.
I can just list down over here. I can pen down
Yes.
10 homes I know are
Yes.
going through this trauma every day.
Allahu Akbar.
Every day.
That's 10 homes too many.
Yeah, 10 homes too many.
That's
I know
10
them
homes too
personally.
many.
I
Right.
know them personally. So, Yani, if I
Right.
have an organization, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to barge into their homes, and I'm just going to relieve them from that pain.
Yes, yes.
Even they want it or they don't want
And I think what is really important is not just that we, once that is the abused victim is out of that relationship or out of that environment, let's
Yes.
say. Of course, one thing we never want to encourage is divorce. Divorce
Yes,
is always
true.
the last
Last thing. Very true,
resort.
yes.
It would be wonderful if the couple could go to counseling together. Unfortunately, the abusers usually
They
do
don't
not
see
accept
problem in
anything.
themselves.
They don't
Yeah.
see the problem, and they will not go to
Not,
counseling.
absolutely.
Of course, it's always a good idea for a wife to suggest, or for a husband to suggest to the wife, counseling,
True.
and to try the best to
Best.
bring, whether it's a professional counselor or family who's
Family.
going to intercede from both sides, like we do in Islam. Or
Yes.
somebody from the husband's family, the wife's
yes.
family. We try to solve the
SubhanAllah.
problem. If it doesn't get solved and it continues to go on, in order for safety and for mental health, to remove yourself from this environment, I think the next step, though, is that we should somehow provide some kind of post-traumatic therapy.
Yes.
Because it doesn't stop at that point. Women are not just away from the situation and all of a sudden they're happy and they're doing well, and because I think they question themselves.
Yes. That's.
Have you ever seen any women go back?
No, actually.
No, because
Because there's a trust issue.
yes,
There's a big trust issue that if a man did not change for 10-15 years, going back is like
but
you cannot rely.
But I've heard, I'm not quoting now professional statistics, but I've heard that women go back in average 6 times.
Subhanallah.
That's in the West, though. That's Western
Okay.
studies. That in their abused relationships, they will go back 6 times before making the
Subhanallah,
final cut.
subhanallah, subhanallah.
Because it's caused a constant. That's why I'm saying about post relation
Yes.
therapy is
Yes,
for them to
yes,
keep
yes.
having that strength.
What happens, that's probably in the West, but back in India, with the subcontinents I come from, firstly the ladies don't stand up, and from that 10%, if 1% stands up, then they
she's
don't
gone.
want to. Yes,
That's right.
she doesn't
Well,
want to
she's
get
the
back.
really strong one.
Yes,
that
she's the
right.
strongest one because
Probably
she knows.
in these cases that they all leave, but they all leave, come back, all leave, come back.
Yes.
Well, we're going to go for a quick break, inshallah,
Sure.
before we wrap up. Please, dear viewers, stay with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, and with me is Sister Farheen in our last segment now about domestic abuse, mashallah, which is such a topic we could probably go and have 10 episodes on this
True,
subject.
yes.
Sadly, that could fill actually so many
So many
episodes, you know, but it's so important.
Yes.
So just to wrap up from what we left off before with the break really quick, that I think it might be important that women get some kind of a support, mental support, emotional support, even after they leave.
Yes, true.
Because it's not easy. It's not just leaving out of the situation. All of a sudden you're okay, you're a happy person, life is good, because there's always that temptation. Was I at fault?
Yes.
Am I the guilty one? Should I go back? No, he really was a good person. Maybe because especially if there's children involved,
I know.
you know,
Yeah,
that they become like a pawn.
Yeah, they are the emotional string actually.
Yes, exactly. So in Islam, now coming back to just what is Islam's view on abuse, and what did the Prophet ﷺ, you know, did he give a message?
Alhamdulillah, because Islam is a religion of mercy and compassion, the Prophet ﷺ always ordered the men around him to take care of the wives. And as you know, and everyone knows, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Eve from the rib of Adam alayhi salam. So the Prophet ﷺ always said that, you know, they are the bent rib. So if you try to straighten them, you will break them.
Yes,
so
and that doesn't mean that they're not straight.
Yes, that doesn't
It
mean that
just
they're
meant
straight. Yes,
that
it
they
is
are.
the nature. It is the nature of a woman.
It's a certain shape, so don't
Yes.
break it. Don't force
try.
it.
Yes, don't try to, you know, don't expect them to work exactly the way you want to. You take care of them. And subhanallah, in his last sermon, in the last khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ, he actually, you know, raised the status of a woman by addressing them and not forgetting them, to treat them kindly. Because
so he really entrusted the men
yes,
in his community. Take care of the women.
When you get married, okay, that's a contract. That's a contract where you take the woman with the permission of Allah. So now she's under your care. She's under your protection.
It's like a
Even
trust.
If she
It's
goes,
an amana
yes, it's an
in
amana.
Arabic.
Yes,
a trust.
it's an amana, and you should
Take
take
care of that
of that
gift.
trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has
It's a
given.
gift.
Yes, it is. It is,
You know?
subhanallah.
Yeah.
It is through her that you are going to have a lineage. You're going to have generations. So what kind of a generation do you want? So subhanallah,
And
Islam.
subhanAllah, I feel it's a disrespect to Allah.
Absolutely.
Allah has made this happen. He gave you a gift
True.
of a wife.
Very true.
It doesn't have to be a perfect
Allah created
gift.
this relationship between a wife and a husband, so we
Exactly.
need to respect that relationship as well.
Yes, and I think by not respecting it, we're actually disrespecting Allah.
Absolutely, correct.
Subhanallah, and
Subhanallah.
disrespecting His blessings.
And
that He's-
actually, in a way, we are actually violating some of the ayahs where Allah says, "Do not stand." You know, do not accept, do not do violence, or do not do injustice.
Yes.
And when you start doing these things in a relationship, subhanallah, you are actually going against the ayahs, you know, where Allah
Exactly.
subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you have to witness justice and you have to do justice.
Yes, and even for people who have anger issues,
Yes.
there's
very true.
solutions in Islam.
Very
you know,
true.
I mean,
Yes,
it's
subhanallah.
subhanallah. When you're angry and you're standing, sit down. If you're sitting
Yes.
down, make wudu
Wudu.
when you're angry.
Very true.
Subhanallah.
Yes, subhanallah,
Well, unfortunately, we've already come to the end of our segment. Jazakallah khair for being with us again. MashaAllah, spending your time with me here in the
Jazakallah
show
khair. It was nice
and
being
bringing
on
that important subject to the viewers. Wallah, may Allah bless you.
Ameen, ameen.
And
Jazakallah
inshallah,
khair
enjoy
for
the
having
rest
me
of your
here.
Ramadan, inshallah.
Inshallah,
Oh,
you
just
too.
before we go, just a quick thing. You had a wonderful seminar, or
Oh,
just
yes.
want to mention that very briefly, though.
Yes, yes. We did it with Empowering Ummah. That was on the 18th of May. and subhanallah, that also was the issue of domestic violence.
MashaAllah. So you're actually
Subhanallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah,
Yeah,
women,
alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, active in her community.
And actually, I had a PPT, I had a presentation properly, with
Wonderful.
everything. So alhamdulillah,
MashaAllah.
it was a
So we
good
hope you
event.
repeat that sometimes in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah.
May Allah bless you and your work.
You
MashaAllah.
too,
Jazakallah
you too.
khair.
Wayyakum.
Dear viewers, we've come to the end of our episode, which was a very, very important episode. We hope that you take away good information from this, valuable information. If you see domestic violence happening around you, try to do something about it. Encourage the victim, whether it's a male or a female, to get some empowerment, inshallah, to speak out, take their rights, inshallah, at the same time with kindness and with respect. Well, inshallah, we wish you a wonderful iftar. May Allah make your fasting easy, inshallah. We see you tomorrow for another episode of She in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.